Today, we're diving into something pretty amazing, an ancient guide for taming the mind. It comes from this incredible text, the Yogashara Bhumi Shastra, but don't worry, we're going to break it all down into a practical framework, something you can actually use in your own life. So, let's jump right in.
So let's start with a really fundamental question. Our words, our actions, even our thoughts. Where does all that stuff actually come from? And maybe more importantly, where is it all leading us? Well, this ancient guide, you can think of it like a map for that exact journey. A journey deep into the workings of our own minds.
All right, so the first step on this path, it's probably not what you're thinking. It's not some super deep, complex meditation. Nope, it's something we do all day, every day. We talk. According to this guide, getting a handle on our speech is the first critical step to organizing our inner world because, well, it's our main way of interacting with the outer one.
Okay, so what exactly is good speech? The text lays out three really beautiful qualities. First, it's pleasing. It just makes people feel good, feel at ease. Second, it's unstained. This is a big one. It means there's no selfish angle, no hidden agenda. And finally, it's got to be wholesome and beneficial. It should actually help people, point them towards something positive. See, it's not just about the words themselves, right? It's about the why behind them.
And this is where it gets really nuanced and, honestly, super relatable. We've all been here, right? Stuck between two bad options. On one hand, you've got pleasing but untrue speech, basically empty flattery, just telling someone what they want to hear. On the other, you've got true but unpleasing, just brutally honest criticism that comes from a place of anger and really hurts. The text says both of these miss the mark entirely. One's dishonest, the other's just harmful. So it really makes you ask, is there a better way?
And of course there is. The ultimate goal is to blend truth, kindness, and wisdom all together. So the highest form of speech, according to this guide, is when you can skillfully share what's true and beneficial, what the text calls the Dharma, and do it in a way that genuinely helps someone move from a place of confusion to a place of clarity. It's about using our words as a tool for real positive change.
Okay, so from our words, we move on to our actions. If speech is how we connect with the world, then our conduct, what we actually do, is the foundation of our character. This is all about building a stable, ethical bedrock for our lives.
So how do we do that? Well, the text says the path to well-being is built on 5 key qualities. First, there's faith in the teachings. Then, a sense of moral shame, that little voice that stops you from doing something wrong. Then we have ethical precepts or conduct, the practice of generosity, and finally, a commitment to keep learning. Cultivating these isn't just about being a good person, it's laid out as the direct route to a truly fulfilling life.
We've covered speech and we've covered our actions. But the text is super clear that the real work, the source of pretty much all our joy and all our suffering, is in one place, the mind. This is it. This is the final frontier, the wild, untamed territory we all have to learn how to navigate.
And this quote just nails the challenge, doesn't it? The untrained mind is described as hard to tame and fickle. It just jumps all over the place, totally restless, constantly getting hooked by all sorts of desires. Sound familiar? That's pretty much the default setting for most of us.
To really drive the point home, the guide uses this incredible metaphor. It says to think of our body as a city. The walls are our bones, and they're plastered over with flesh and sinew. But here's the kicker. Who's running this city? Inside dwell greed, hatred, pride, and all our hidden issues. Our own bodies can literally become a prison for a mind that's ruled by these things.
And to make it even clearer, the text gives us these 4 powerful metaphors for our main mental troubles. Desire, that's like being stuck in thick, sticky mud. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. Anger is like being possessed by a ghost, just completely losing yourself. Ignorance is like being tangled in a net. And craving's a raging river that just sweeps you away. These aren't just small problems. They're described as elemental forces inside us. So, how on earth do you deal with forces like that? Well, the text gives us an equally elegant solution with this beautiful metaphor. Think about a tortoise. When it senses danger, it pulls its head and legs safely inside its shell. In the same way, a wise person learns to pull back their senses and restrain all those scattered thoughts. It's not about fighting the mind, you see. It's about skillfully protecting it.
This all leads us to the ultimate framework. How do we pull all this together? The good speech, the right actions, the tamed mind. The text lays out a really clear, systematic, 3-part path to get to a state of real inner freedom.
And really,
This one verse captures the heart of the entire practice. It's a 3-part instruction manual. Step 1, stop doing harmful things. Step 2, actively do good things. And step 3, the big one, tame your own mind. The text says this, right here, is the core teaching of all enlightened beings.
And this isn't just some nice quote. It maps directly onto a classical training system called the 3 learnings. Do no evil, perform all good. That's the training in precepts, which takes care of our speech and actions. Subdue one's own mind. That's the training in concentration, which builds mental stability. And from that calm, stable mind, that's where wisdom comes from, the ability to see reality clearly, which is what leads to freedom. It's a complete step-by-step system. So after all this work, what's the payoff? Where does this path actually lead? Let's take a look at what the text calls the state of liberation, the result of a mind that's truly been tamed.
The description here is just wow. It's so poetic. It says, the mind of a wise person is like wide open space. It can't be stained or messed up by anything that happens. It's totally stable, unmoving, like the banner of the heavenly king. And they no longer get caught up in the muddy sea of birth and death, that endless cycle of ups and downs. It's a state of deep, unshakable peace and clarity.
And so, we end with a question for you to think about. This ancient guide shows us that our mind is like a kingdom. So, is the king of your mind a slave, constantly pushed around by anger and desire? Or is it a master of wisdom, ruling with clarity and compassion? The beautiful thing this guide shows us is that the power to decide is entirely up to us.